Welcome to the oral history talk. Today we are fortunate to have Professor Aswatha Narayana with us, a former professor of Department of Applied Mechanics, to share his experiences on his illustrious career at IIT Madras. He was a prolific researcher, great teacher, and able administrator during his time. He worked at IIT Madras for about 3.5 decades. It will be nice to listen to his experiences from him. Sir, welcome to the IIT Madras campus. Mrs. Shanta ma'am, welcome to IIT Madras campus. We are fortunate to have both of you on the campus again. Welcome back. You, sir, to start with, would you like to give any brief presentation about your background?
Thank you, Professor Patnaik. I am happy to be present here at the Heritage Center of IIT Madras. I joined IIT Madras on January 16th, 1967. I graduated with BE from University College of Engineering, which is called University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering now. I then completed my ME with distinction at IISc Bangalore. So when I was at IISc, I was fortunate to attend a lecture given by Professor C.V. Raman at Raman Research Institute, and also have oral discussions with Professor Dhawan. After completing my master's, I joined Birla Institute of Technology at Ranchi. So after joining Ranchi, I thought I must do, even I am teaching, I must do research. Then I decided to apply for IIT Madras, and I got selected. This administration building was not there. Everything was in building science block. The first director was there who interviewed, and then I joined IIT on 16th January 1967. So this is my brief introduction about my career. Professor K.N. Sitaramu was also at BIT Ranchi. From those days onwards, we had mutual interactions. So I came to do PhD at IIT Madras as a faculty as well as doing research. So this is my brief introduction. Professor Sengupta was the first director, and he used to say proudly, "My institute." So he will say, "My institute, my students," and he was having a dog and his wife. He was very active, Professor Sengupta. When I joined, Professor D.V. Reddy, who was the head of the department, came to introduce us to the colleagues in our department. It was not necessary. Head of the lab could have done, but he came all the way. Professor Valluri was the first head of the Department of Applied Mechanics. Then Professor D.V. Reddy took over, and then he managed the things. So when I joined, Professor Armin Klein was the German professor in our department. He used to always wear white shirt, white pant, big Benz car. He used to teach compressible fluid flow and other subjects. I used to attend all his classes and enriched myself. So that is what I did after joining Professor Klein. The adjoining lab was thermal turbo machine where Professor Shear was there. Adjoining to that was the hydraulics lab where Professor Ruwe was the German professor. So they had tilting flume and also cascade tunnel. So our research scholars could do research work there. Originally, fluid mechanics was in the Department of Applied Mechanics. So it had solid mechanics, fluid mechanics as the main things. And then the aero department was joined, and then we had applied mechanics and aeronautics department. After some time, aeronautics was separated. Originally, we had machine dynamics also with us. After some time, machine dynamics got separated. They joined the mechanical department, and Professor Wagner was very active in the machine dynamics. So presently, our department is called Department of Applied Mechanics and Biomedical Engineering. We have fluid mechanics, solid mechanics, and biomedical engineering. So this is what happened when I joined. When I joined, Professor P.S. Srinivasan was the senior most faculty member. He was the second faculty member who joined for the whole institute. So he did his PhD from France and then completed his PhD. Now I would like to show the colleagues in our department those days. It's a very rare photograph. I will say a few words about our former colleagues. So, myself and Professor BHL Gowda, we were classmates in undergraduate and also masters. He joined with me at IIT Madras. Then Professor Ganeshan, Machine Dynamics, Professor Prabhu, Professor Megha Singh, Professor Rammurthy, Professor Ramji, myself, Professor Narayanan, Professor Lakshmi Narsimhan. They are all fluid mechanics.
Sir,
people.
this picture is from which year, sir? Are you referring to?
When Professor Megha Singh was head of the department.
That must be around 1999?
Something like, even little bit earlier.
Little earlier.
And we had three mechanics, Stalin, Lazarus, and Srinivasan. So we had a very good interaction. I was fortunate to help one of our mechanics' son to complete his undergraduate degree. He had only done diploma, then he finished at Gindi Engineering College and got his degree. So this is a brief introduction. So this is a very rare photograph where all the colleagues were there. So when I joined, the research facilities in our lab was not yet fully functional. Only Professor Klein had one. Professor Matthew from Trivandrum, he had a diffuser tunnel. It was making very lot of noise. So they could do experiments only in the night. So that is the only setup. So when I joined, Professor Swami said I should work in three-dimensional turbulent boundary layers, and Dr. Lakshman Gowda do on axis symmetric flows.
So it's very interesting to know that you worked with Professor Swami.
Yes.
Was he your thesis advisor?
He was my thesis advisor.
Okay.
So initially myself and Dr. Lakshman Gowda did some experiments in the jet tunnel at IC lab. IC lab, there was a German professor, Professor Stahl. So they were playing tennis together, and Professor Stahl gave permission for us to do experiments in IC lab. So we had a 10 centimeter exhaust, and then he fixed up a plate and then made measurements and tried to analyze. Then we decided it is not axisymmetric, but it is something like wall jets. So finally the thesis was named as wall jet. He made series of experiments. Then Professor Swami suggested I should do in that tunnel three-dimensional turbulent boundary layers. So 10 centimeter dia, then we had a square duct, but it was not giving good results for three-dimensional turbulent boundary layers.
In any case, we can come back to your PhD related research work.
Yeah.
Would you like to kind of elaborate on
Yes.
your PhD type of
I'll
exactly?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. Our Göttingen tunnel was not yet ready. It had some starting problems. So I had a yard flat plate and two different yard angles, and at various incidence angles, I had to calibrate the tunnel first. So I calibrated the tunnel, had this yard flat plate, and took lot of measurements for the three-dimensional turbulent boundary layer. And at that time, we didn't have good computing facility in our institute. So we used to have computer cards, and then we used to punch the program. And then I went to Tumba and then got a lot of data. It took much time to analyze that. Finally, the analysis were made, and Professor Swami, when he went through the thesis, only one sentence headline was changed. Had written as generation of three-dimensional turbulent boundary layer. He said prediction of secondary flows. So otherwise, the thesis was went through, and examiner came from NAL. He had lot of questions. I was answering all the questions. He was happy, and finally I got my PhD in 1974.
That's very
But
nice.
lot of stress those days. It was I was associate lecturer. Associate lecturer means those days they can take away us from teaching position after 3 years. So lot of
Oh,
stress.
it was only an ad hoc. kind
Ad hoc,
of a
yes.
thing.
Then I had to put handkerchief tight and ask my daughter to be silent, calm. Then finally it was done. So we had 5 journal papers from the
Wow.
thesis and 3 conference
That's
publications.
fantastic record.
Yeah, all foreign journals at that time, and we are happy that they finally whatever hard work was done was rewarded.
Very, very glad to know that stress is part and parcel of researcher's life.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that stress existed even in those days.
Yes, a lot.
A lot.
And those days, we didn't have so many research scholars. So we had only some QIP scholars, only 1 or 2 research scholars. So to get research scholars was difficult.
So maybe we'll to start with, we'll go, to figure out whether German professors were also teaching. Were there any compulsory courses for a PhD scholar? Was there any comprehensive examination required for PhD scholars those days?
Yeah, those
Maybe can you elaborate?
Yeah,
on
I will do
sir?
that. Professor Klein used to teach so many courses, and many faculty from other departments were also attending. And I didn't take any courses those days, no comprehensive. So
No comprehensive examination.
no, and
So our scholars will be very happy to hear this, perhaps.
then we presented in the committee. The committee said, okay, it is sufficient for PhD. Then we have to write our thesis. One thesis was sent to Germany, other thesis was in India. So that's how the things were those days.
Okay. Till recently, we too had assessment from 2 separate examiners, one from within India, one from outside. But we have recently come up with some additional reforms to make it simpler, and any first class universities in the US or in the West, they don't really send for assessment outside. So
Yeah.
based on the
Yeah.
publication strength of the PhD scholar's thesis, the things are much more simplified now. So, sir, would you like to sort of tell us a little bit about how exactly was the nature of discussions with the peer PhD scholars those days? They were interacting a lot, discussing a lot.
Yes. What happened as soon as I completed my PhD, then I had an opportunity to work at Delft University. So
That's
I
wonderful.
worked in the Delft University with the different roughness surfaces, favorable pressure gradient, zero pressure gradient, adverse pressure gradient. Lot of data was there, and they asked me to stay another 2 months to complete it. And many research scholars have used that data. So that was at Delft University Aerospace Department.
That's wonderful.
Then that was on leave I went. Then I was there for 1 year at Munich. Those days, West Germany.
University of Munich.
Yeah. So it was only programming and writing.
Very nice.
Then afterwards, once again, I was invited to Delft University. So I helped 2 PhD scholars. Lot of publications
Very
were
nice.
there. So that was before I took any research scholars. So
Very
this is only sabbatical I had in Germany. Otherwise, on leave. After I came back, our research scholars were not many. So you know, you were our research scholar for masters and PhD. So I went to hydraulics department. I went to turbo machines, then in our own lab. Then I interacted with Professor Sitaramu. We had many research scholars, so we had a lot of publications and lot of interactions.
Okay, looks like you had a lot of publications from your PhD thesis. We'll continue with that part of the discussion. Uh, the first publication is always a very great achievement for a research scholar. It's like the first flower from a plant. It's like the first fruit from a plant. So anonymous referees will be commenting on the manuscript submitted to the journal. So there will be a lot of back and forth rebuttals and so on. Would you like to elaborate what journal you have published? You had your first publication, and how was that experience like?
Yeah, when my PhD progress was not sufficient fast because experimental setup was not ready, I was working with Professor M.V. Krishnamurthy on corner eddies, and the paper was published in American Society of Civil Engineering. So
nice.
I felt so happy when I saw the first publication in a foreign journal.
Very
So
nice.
as you say, we get emotional to see that. So
even I remember my first publication vividly in the Journal of International Journal for Numerical Methods in Heat and Fluid Flow. So naturally, it's a huge excitement for the scholar at that point of time. So I would like to know how many publications you had from your PhD thesis.
A PhD thesis, I had 5 international publications.
Wow.
And 3 conference papers.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a huge achievement.
Yeah, those days, yeah.
Even by current standards, because the number of journals available right now is much limited compared to what it was in the past. The nature of resources, the nature of facilities available in that era is surely must be in its infancy. Naturally, the challenges were manifold those days compared to perhaps what we can achieve now. Sir, you have taught in IIT Madras, in the University of Saints Malaysia, in the Delft University, Jain University. Would you like to highlight some of your favorite courses that you have taught and
Yeah, sure. The fluid mechanics was at my heart always.
That's in your blood.
That's in our blood. Then with Professor Sitaramu and with ocean engineering, I attended finite element courses and ocean engineering hydrodynamics. So I learnt many things from there. So I used to teach courses connected with that. And those days we used to have master students in civil engineering take hydrodynamics from us, and fluid mechanics was taught. Engineering mechanics was taught in 2 semesters. One was statics, other was
both
dynamics.
were separate courses.
Separate course.
Engineering mechanics statics, engineering mechanics
Yes,
dynamics.
correct. Then
Wow.
when Professor Ramachandran was the director, he suggested we should have fluid mechanics and heat transfer.
Wow.
So it will be useful for electronic cooling.
Yes.
So mechanical faculty will teach heat transfer. Fluid mechanics will be taught from our lab, and then it was a combined course. So it was very good.
Yeah. So essentially, right now, both statics and dynamics is compressed into a single course. It's a 1 semester course, and interestingly, not many engineering disciplines also take that course.
Yeah.
That's the.
But I think it is necessary because engineering mechanics, which includes statics and dynamics, has lot of applications, and fluid mechanics has lot of applications in so many branches.
Sure.
So it is good to have fluid mechanics as well as engineering mechanics for all the undergraduate students.
That's nice of you to advise us.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of problem solving skill set comes from engineering mechanics. Students enjoy understanding rigid body mechanics in a broader way, and many subsequent courses are essentially fundamental. This provides a fundamental background for such courses. Sir, would you like to say something on any advice for our scholars on what kind of courses to be done by the scholar? Because scholars mostly focus on their core courses and say, okay, we have done enough, it is sufficient, kind of a thought process.
Yeah,
If you look at American schools, they do a broad set of courses, close to about 10 courses, 10 to 12 courses, and this builds a strong foundation. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, as you said, basic courses like engineering mechanics in one semester, statics and dynamics, fluid mechanics, it can be made compulsory so that the students have basic knowledge. They can apply to so many other applications.
Sure. So, sir, since you have been teaching and doing research for a long time, would you like to sort of highlight some of the research contributions from your group? Because I was a group member along with the legendary Professor Sitaramu in your group. So, would you like to highlight some of the scholars' works?
When I worked with Professor Sitaramu, it had many practical applications. So he with heat transfer. So we had about 8 PhD scholars along with Professor Sitaramu, and all students were very, very sincere. And one student got his PhD directly from BTech. BTech, no masters, it directly PhD.
Yeah, those days only the top 25% of
Yes,
the
yeah.
BTech IIT BTechs were
Correct.
allowed
Correct.
to do a PhD, direct PhD.
Direct.
But direct PhD exists now for all scholars.
Okay.
It's open to all.
Okay,
So the scholars who are interested in pursuing PhD directly after BTech, they are facilitated. Many of my top students have actually converted from masters to PhD soon after joining.
Oh, very good, very good, very good. Another thing I would like to touch upon, when I was in IIT, I had many other responsible positions to carry out.
We'll come to the service part a little later, sir.
Okay.
So we want to hear from you. I remember you had a nice horizontal axis wind tunnel model those days in the low speed wind tunnel, and a lot of measurements were being done those days. Would you like to elaborate on that, sir?
Yeah, we have horizontal axis windmills and vertical axis windmills. Vertical axis windmills can take energy from all directions. So, but the production is not too high. Horizontal axis windmills, they are taller than the vertical axis windmills, and we have to control so that they get the wind direction blown in a particular angle.
Sure.
So we had many projects with Pondicherry and all that. So we had in IIT faculty, there is a patent using tidal energy and vertical axis windmill. So vertical axis windmill can be in the top of the house, and tidal energy is there. So both can be converted together, added together, and we can get energy. So I had worked with tidal energy in ocean engineering.
Okay.
Then another person was working in ocean engineering.
That's
and
nice.
Then in the turbo machines, we had S type of blades which can work both as a...
That work must be with Professor
Balabhaskar and Professor
Yes.
Radhakrishnan.
Okay.
H.C. Radhakrishna.
Okay.
So, memorable things. So, that's it.
Sir, would you like to highlight some of the works related to the shear flows in the context of flow past cylinder, flow past a bank of tubes, and rod bundles? A lot of work has been done in your group in the context of rod bundle heat transfer also. Would you like to highlight any of those?
Yeah, in hydraulics lab, we had a tilting flume, and we had kept many bodies and then generated the flow structure, analyzed the flow structure. So it is a very interesting field, and then it gave a lot of inputs to work in other fields also.
Sure. I'm referring to the computational work in the late 90s from your group related to understanding the flow separation past a circular configuration, and the nature of wake vortices which happen, and the associated interactions if there are multiple bodies, and then how the bundle should be arranged in a way that the maximum heat transfer is extracted from the surfaces, in turn minimizing the pressure drop is the real focus. I believe many scholars like Dr. Krishna Gowda, myself have worked on this. So there was also a lot of work on brick drying to help the coastal industry
Yes.
in Karnataka. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, one Professor Gowda, who was the professor in College of Engineering at Hyderabad, did work on this drying.
You mean H.N. Suresh?
H.N. Suresh.
Okay.
H.N. Suresh. So many practical problems were tried to be solved, and then it was good to work in interdisciplinary.
Yeah, Professor
problems.
Murugesan also worked on this problem
Correct.
of
Correct.
drying of bricks
Drying, yeah.
in the context of saturated porous medium, how
correct.
it transforms into.
Yeah, since I had to attend these classes, I got inspiration and then applied for the research.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic. That's really nice. So, sir, for your information, you also will know this. Professor Murugesan retired from IIT Roorkee.
Yes, yes.
And Professor Suresh, H.N. Suresh,
From Hyderabad.
from Military Engineering College, Hyderabad. And yeah, it's nice to hear that your students are retiring also. Yeah. So, yeah, Niharika Ishan project you have already articulated. Sir, I just want to touch upon some of the questions related to, your, most of your publications are essentially with your group in finite element methods and with Professor K.N. Sitaramu. Legendary Professor K.N. Sitaramu had, a big group wherein he really focused a lot on problems of interest to convection, combustion, basic fundamental fluid mechanics,
Yes.
of course heat transfer, boiling, flow boiling, pool boiling kind of areas. Would you like to kind of highlight those days computing facilities must be really in its infancy?
Yeah.
How did you manage computing resources, sir?
Those days, as you know, we didn't have these advanced computing facilities. We had to write the program in computer cards, and even to get a simple result, we used to have 100 cards. So, and facilities were not sufficient in IIT, so we have to go to some other places, get the information without understanding, then analyze, and it was a lot of inputs. Professor Ganeshan was there. We call him London Ganeshan. So he helped us in writing Fortran programming and all that.
Okay. So you mean the finite difference perhaps has percolated in mathematics as well as aerospace kind of departments. Perhaps Genmix code was from Professor Ganeshan.
Correct.
Because he went to Professor D.B. Spalding.
Imperial
College in UK. Then your group has worked extensively on finite element method.
Yes.
Would you like to kind of elaborate on the specifics?
Because the students try to learn programming,
Sure.
even though I was not so much deep into it, I could analyze the results.
Fantastic.
And then try to say this is not correct, that is not correct, better do this way. Students were able to generate properly, and lot of publications.
No, because I remember from the Professor Kawahara's group, there was one Professor Balasubramanian.
Correct.
His code originally was available to Professor Sitaramu's group and your group, and that was kind of modified into various other
Correct.
applications, including turbulent flows, convection, porous medium, vibrations, flow induced vibrations, and so on. Would you like to sort of give us a glimpse of the nature of computing those days? What exactly were you using? Galerkin based formulations?
Yeah, Galerkin based, and it was very tough those days. For example, we used to have one they call advanced computer, but it's only a small computer, get some numbers. So we were not allowed to wear shoes and something like that.
Sure.
Go inside. Afterwards, we have seen it's common, and lot of developments are there in finite element, and then programs were written, and I have something like 120 journal publications.
Wow, amazing.
And
amazing.
about 150 conference
That's
publications
amazing.
and many awards. So
Fantastic.
in that way,
Sir, we'll come to your awards a little later if you don't mind.
whatever.
Yeah. So the Galerkin-based formulations, the finite elements, the University of Swansea was really,
Yes.
the Makkah of finite elements.
Correct.
Would you like to tell our viewers on the nature of interactions you had at University of Swansea?
It was only a short visit to that place. I saw
Because
Professor,
I remember Prof Sitaramu used to go there often.
he went for 1 year to that place. I went on in British Council and our IIT collaboration. So I interacted with them. So a lot of advice was given to us. So
Because those days, Professor Jinkiewicz,
yes,
Professor Ken Morgan,
correct.
R.W. Lewis,
Correct.
Obay Hassan, all these people
Yeah.
were
Top
popular.
people were there,
Top
yeah.
people in finite elements were
Yeah.
present. Some of them are still, there. Professor O.C. Jed passed away, and perhaps do you want to sort of really elaborate on some of the research projects in the area of finite elements that you have done with the US group, sir?
I had 2 National Science Foundation projects.
NSF.
Yeah,
Okay.
NSF. One was with Professor Reddy,
J.N. Reddy.
J.N.
Wow,
Reddy,
wonderful.
and we had a 3-year project,
Fantastic.
and lot of support financially was given.
Okay.
And then North Carolina State University, I had one
You mean
project.
Professor Sethuraman?
Professor Sethuraman.
Yeah.
So a lot of publications.
That
were
is
there.
in the area of general circulation models.
Yes.
Applied to, really looking at atmospheric flows.
Correct. Atmospheric.
Okay.
This one was a finite element,
Okay.
and we had benefited a lot, and it was a nice interaction.
Very
between-
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Sir, would you sort of elaborate to our listeners on, the nature of, how the finite element method that has actually was not very popular with fluid mechanics community.
Yes.
That Professor Sitaramu and you have popularized to the fluid mechanics community in a big way. Would you like to kind of elaborate?
Yeah.
on that?
Originally, as you say, it was applied only for structures,
Yes, sir.
and then to apply for fluid mechanics, we had to put lot of efforts, and we had to refer to many journals, and then it was a foundation for other people to
Sure.
apply finite element to fluid flow, heat transfer, and mechanical problems.
Sure, sir. Sure. So, sir, would you like to tell us a little bit on, the personal aspects of your, interaction on campus? Because you have done a lot of surveys to IIT Madras in various capacities, like you were the chairman, Council of Wardens, you were warden Kaveri Hostel, you were president of the Temple Samajam, you were,
Yes.
treasurer of Music Club,
Yes.
you were also, a Blood and Eye Donors Club president. And would you like to kind of, these related questions I want to ask you one by one. How was your experience as Chairman Gate back in 1997?
I was chairman Gate. Those days, 5 IITs and Indian Institute of Science, they used to meet at one place, then set the question papers. So there were 18 question papers at that time,
Parallel papers.
parallel
Wow.
papers, and we don't know all the inputs, all the inside things of the
True,
things.
because you specialize in one field
Yes.
and it has lots of other question papers to
So
be managed.
our team went to press, which is confidential, stayed there for 3 days, and then question papers were printed. Then we sent these question papers to all the 5
The
IIT.
proofreading, etc.
Everything
must be
we done
a very
done
tough
by
job.
us.
Okay.
And then it was sent to all the zones,
Okay.
and then It was
Any experience with other zonal teams that you had in those days?
yes, during question paper setting there is no problem,
Okay.
but during one session we had to take these bundles from Chennai to Kanpur.
Because you were the organizing chairperson that
yeah.
year. Oh,
So
wonderful.
we have to take there, and we have to travel by train
Okay.
from here to Jhansi.
Okay.
Every junction we used to go and check up whether everything is safe.
I see.
Then when we got down at Jhansi, the Kanpur people had sent a lorry and a car
Okay.
for us. We should be seated in the car,
Okay.
and the question papers can be in
In the lorry. Okay.
We said no.
Oh.
So for
Because the safety and
safety.
security of those
Yes.
trunks is very
Yes.
paramount.
So 4 hours, myself and Professor Sitaramu sat in the lorry
Oh my God.
in open, and then submitted the things to Kanpur chairman.
Okay.
Then we went to Delhi and
Sure.
then back to Chennai.
You took a flight from Delhi.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
That's-
was about the gate.
Okay.
As you say, I was involved in blood donation
Yeah.
in the
donation,
campus.
What was the experience? About,
Yeah, it was very good in the sense every semester we used to have blood donation camp in one of the hostels.
Wonderful.
So from VHS, the people used to come help us in the blood donation, so that the students get courage to donate the blood.
Yeah, when I see somebody donating blood, naturally the new student will
Yes.
be also interested in doing the same thing.
Yeah,
The thought process is, if
Correct.
another classmate of mine is doing it, I'll be super excited
correct.
to.
And, they
do
used
that.
to be afraid of that, but when they see, they come forward. As you
Very
know,
nice.
you are one of the persons who has donated
At least 11 times.
no, not that plasma, or what is it?
Platelets.
Platelets.
Yeah, yeah.
So the blood was taken from you, it was filtered, platelets was given to the patient, blood was sent
Yeah,
back
this
to
is
you.
for blood cancer patients.
Yeah.
They require only platelets.
Yeah.
So naturally, there is a centrifugation process that sort of, the rest of the plasma is put back into the body, and
Yeah.
that's how.
In the campus at that time, we initiated eye donation.
So,
So
sir,
to-
how did you manage eye donations those days?
We used to say, you want ice or something like that.
You mean ICE?
IC.
Oh my God!
They
So
th-
if somebody has passed away, your group will go there and say,
and ask. So finally, we said, can you not donate your eyes?
"Ah,
And if you donate 2 eyes,
Yeah.
4 patients will get benefited.
wonderful."
So 2 pairs of eyes was donated. So I was there for
So I remember some of the themes, like, it's not pledging for eye donation, pledging for making sure somebody else is donating. So when
Yeah.
we are not there, somebody else will ensure that
Yeah,
we also donate.
So that was very interesting. As you say, I was involved in Center for Continuing Education.
Yeah, CCE.
So those days, many engineering colleges were opening in India, so they didn't have books. So what we did was, we recorded some lectures on
we have a much bigger version called NPTEL now.
Yeah, now it is NPTEL.
Yeah.
Beginning at that time, so I had given 38 lectures on fluid mechanics. You have also attended a
Some
few
of them, yeah.
So that helped me to bring in the form of a textbook later.
Do you want to show the textbooks?
Yeah. This is the
This
textbook.
came out in 2004, after you retired.
Yeah, when I was
in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
That's what I saw.
So now it is in 4th edition.
Fantastic.
So we feel happy when I see
And
something
this
like
was written with Professor
Sitaramu and
K.N.
myself.
Sitaramu, you and Professor Aswatha Narayana and K.N. Sitaramu.
Yes.
Engineering fluid mechanics. Sir, would you like to elaborate on this logo a little bit?
This
what was the
they
logo?
didn't ask us what is this.
Oh,
So
they have put.
they have put it.
So the publisher has put. some
Publisher
logo.
has put,
Okay.
and we are happy that our efforts finally led
Have,
to have this book.
Sure, sir.
So that was Center for Continuing Education. Then I was also Chairman Council of Warden. Originally
Chairman,
I was
were there any famous people during your? Were there any students who were, kind of naughty in the hostel? How did you manage such students?
For example, Professor Venkatrailu was the dean of students.
Oh,
And
that time, yeah,
at
I
that
remember.
time,
I was a student.
and one
at that-
girl student from one of the hostels
Yeah.
gave complaint to us.
Oh,
Somebody is writing bad things about them.
about that girl. Okay.
Then what myself and Professor Venkatrailu did was call that complete batch
Batch of students.
of
Okay.
students. Whatever spelling mistakes were there in the
In
original,
the original letter.
we asked them to write.
In a different form.
So in that thing, the one student had written in left hand, but
Okay.
now he wrote in the right hand. But the spelling mistake was done the same way.
Oh, the
Then
spelling mistake caught that boy.
So we could catch that person
I see.
and then advised him.
Okay.
So that was when I was
Sure, that's
chairman.
really nice. It's
Yeah,
like,
that is. So
very-
I was also involved in music club.
Yeah, music club. Sir, would you like to say something on your period as music club?
Yeah, I was treasurer for music club for
Yes.
15 years. At that time, for the whole concert group, we used to give only 500 rupees those
Oh.
days. And what I suggest to all our young students and faculty to attend music club performance in the campus, even if they don't know anything about music, if they attend, they'll get inspiration, they will get satisfaction.
Yeah, the music club mostly focuses on classical things.
Yes.
I still remember the Tyagaraja Aradhana Utsavas used to happen in different faculty homes. Ma'am was kind enough in hosting one or two of those Tyagaraja Aradhana Utsavas. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes. Those days, Professor Kamakoti, who is the present director, was playing violin, and he
Even
used
now
to,
he plays violin.
okay. He used to accompany the main artist,
Sure.
and it was nice that he used to play violin.
He
and
was
then-
in Kaveri hostels.
Yeah, when I was the warden CCW at Kaveri, he was a student there, but we have not
Do
met.
you have any picture or something?
Yeah, I have a picture.
Maybe you can share
Um,
it at a later time.
Okay, I'll share it later.
They will edit
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So, my PhD, Temple Samajam.
Yeah, you were president in Temple
One-
Samajam
yes.
at some point of time.
Yes.
I'm sure during your time, I remember one, Mahakumbhabhishekam has happened.
Correct.
And it was a really nice experience that Kanchi Kamakoti Paramacharya visited.
Correct.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
When Paramacharya was there, his disciple, who is the present chief, was also there, and I was fortunate to be seated in the same platform.
Wow.
So it was.
Was it Chandrasekharendra Saraswati or Jayendra Saraswati, sir? Chandrasekharendra Saraswati is the, he's like a god.
That is even earlier.
Even earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
These
It's
were the
Jayendra
other
Saraswati.
people.
Okay,
So
okay. That's nice.
that was, and also I was involved in milk distribution.
Yeah, milk distribution. I remember there was some agitation during your time
Correct.
by the milk distribution staff.
Correct.
How did you manage milk distribution when staff were not cooperative
Correct.
to do the distribution those days?
Professor Natarajan was the director at that time. So I was also the president of staff club. So they said staff club should manage the milk distribution.
Wow.
So we talked with them,
Okay.
and then staff club took over, and still it continues. So that
Sure.
is the kind of
Legacy.
staff legacy we have.
You were also president of staff club and
President of
faculty
staff
club.
faculty association.
Yeah, faculty association.
Yeah.
We still have faculty association which is active. We also have a very active staff club
Correct.
where the faculty is the president. Yeah, sir, let us get into some of the campus life related. For example, I remember you mentioning something like there was one Kannada movie that was shot on campus.
Yes.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes. Dr. Rajkumar, famous actor from Karnataka.
Mannina Maga. He is
Mannina
the
Maga.
thespian of Kannada industry.
Correct.
Okay.
They came once.
This
to
was in 80s, 1980s.
90s. high voltage lab and our Göttingen
Low
tunnel.
speed wind tunnel.
No, Göttingen,
Yeah,
big
Göttingen.
tunnel.
Okay.
So they were there and they took a lot of shooting and all that.
Okay.
Then we invited him to our house. He left his chappals outside the house.
Wow.
Very nice. Spent
Okay.
some time with us.
Very
So
nice.
Operation Diamond Racket
The name of the movie
is
is
Operation Diamond Racket.
So the students interested in Rajkumar movie,
Yeah.
can perhaps look at this movie title Operation Diamond Racket.
Yes.
You can see the wind tunnel and the high voltage lab of IIT Madras in that movie.
I have some photographs that
So
can be added.
recently, if I'm not wrong, Sixth Sense was shot in IIT Madras in the biotech department. Of course, students will be knowing this. Sir, I want to ask you some questions related to the Kannada Sangha those days.
Okay.
You were conducting or inspirational in doing a lot of activities related to Kannada Sangha. Ma'am, either you or sir, would you like to elaborate on Kannada Sangha activities?
I will tell, then she can join. Those days, MTech students, BTech students from Karnataka used to come for masters here. So they study for 2 years. So they used to interact because they miss Karnataka.
Sure.
So we used to have a lot of interaction. Beldengul Uta,
Moonlight dinner.
Moonlight dinner.
Wonderful.
And during convocation, their parents used to come to our house and take rest.
Yeah.
So it was all done. So she used to help in all these.
Ma'am is well known. Her home is called Shanta Bhavan.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I have eaten food in your home many times as a scholar. So in that spirit, we can't remember, we can't forget the.
Oh, it's all pleasure for
those
us. Yeah.
lovely days.
Yeah.
Sir, I have some questions related to some, personal aspects. Would you like to be? Can I ask you?
Yeah, please
some
go ahead.
personal questions.
Please go ahead.
So our scholars will be super excited to know whether. I'm sorry to ask like this.
Yeah,
whether
please.
yours was a love marriage or arranged marriage.
No.
Because a PhD scholar these days contemplates about getting married, especially girl students have a lot more pressure compared to boys. Some students will be thinking of getting married. At least 50% of my students focus on getting married first, and then only they think in terms of doing some research. Would you like to elaborate on how did you manage both research as well as family lives?
Ours is arranged marriage.
Okay,
We didn't meet earlier.
Sure.
Then when my relatives came from outside, when they saw the campus, they were asking whether some animals like lions and tigers are there.
Oh,
So it
interesting.
was so nice.
So they thought it's a real jungle.
Real jungle.
It is a real jungle.
Real jungle, but only lot of deer and
Sure,
a lot of
sure.
monkeys.
We even have python.
Yes.
Very big pythons were recently found on campus. Very long ones, but you have seen, ma'am?
Yeah, we have
That's
seen.
interesting. That's interesting. So it's like, what's your advice to the scholars who are thinking of getting married?
Oh,
Better get married.
better get married.
Sure. But also focus on research.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, since it's a beautiful campus,
Sure.
they must try to use the facilities. They
Sure.
must go for walk, bird watching,
Sure, sir.
or they get inspiration.
Sure.
So we used to do
You
that.
mentioned about music club.
Music club,
activities.
so many things.
Sure.
Even if the attendance is not compulsory,
Sure.
it is better they attend the classes.
Sure.
They learn so many things.
Okay. Sir, this is regarding your, children and grandchildren. Would you like to say something on?
Okay,
Your
we'll be
children,
happy to say that.
grandchildren.
We have 2 children. One daughter, she studied in Vanavani and Central School. When she passed 12th grade, she didn't know how to cross the road
Wow.
because she was inside the campus.
Sure. All the time.
All the
inside
time.
campus.
Then she did hotel management and BA, MA.
Excellent.
My son did bachelor's from
Bits Pillar.
BITS Pilani.
Yeah.
Now he has 2 MS from US and 1 MBA.
Excellent.
So they are all happy. and life goes on. So we
Excellent.
have
Grandchildren, sir?
we have 2 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. The first grandson is in 3rd year engineering.
Excellent.
The other one is in 9th grade. The granddaughter is in 5th grade.
So they're all settled in the US?
Yeah, they are all settled.
Okay. Sir, I have a couple of questions related to your advice, maybe, to the current generation of faculty, students, staff, and administrators, because you have been a prolific, very capable administrator, a great researcher, and then, excellent teacher. How did you manage so many things? And then any advice for young faculty, young students, young staff members?
I think first is research and teaching
Okay.
for the faculty. But whatever interests are there, they can try to catch up what is happening in the campus.
Sure.
You are the cultural advisor, so you are the warden, you are the gate chairman. So
Yeah.
like that, people can
Do additional
contribute
service.
additional service. So parents, children, everybody will get benefit.
Sure. Sir, would you like to say anything more, or otherwise we can perhaps close the interview? Ma'am, you want to add anything?
No, anyway, you have brought out many things which was possible for me to do here. So I'll just thank you and the Heritage Center for giving me this opportunity to present what we have done in the Fluid Mechanics Lab.
Yes, sir. My special gratitude to you and Shanta ma'am for joining the oral heritage talks here at IIT Madras campus. We are really fortunate to have you on our campus, and we are grateful to your participation.
We are very happy to interact
you,
with you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.